you have to hear what happened after this game. So Lakers, Bucks last night. Interesting test for the Lakers, right? Giannis and the champs in town, all good. No contest. Giannis right from the jump. Spectacular. Knocking down an open three there. Then he's got a corner jumper here. Giannis 5 for 5 from the floor in the first. Bucks had a 14-point lead, and it never got closer. Look at LeBron D'ing up Giannis. It's not a good matchup for the King. Giannis, 23 points on 8 of 8 in the first half. And you think the frustration was getting to LeBron? Watch this here. He takes it in. He's got the dunk there. He's looking for a call, and he's going to get himself a tech. LeBron's so frustrated, he's yelling at the officials. They were down 22 at the half. And then third quarter, more of the same. Giannis on the alley-oop. He had 44 points and 14 rebounds. Bucks win in a blowout. And listen to what LeBron said after the game.
Yeah, it tells us we ain't on their level. I mean, I'd have told you that before the game started.
Do you think you can reach that level?
Where they are right now? I don't know. Do I think we can reach the level where Milwaukee is right now? No. Is that what you want to hear from me? No.
So we played that earlier this morning here on the program, and the players on my set, the football players, all reacted very strongly with great surprise. Let's get my man Brian Windhorst is with us here. But Big Perk, I want to start with you. When you hear LeBron say, can we get to that level? No. What does that mean?
That means exactly what he said, Greeny. And look, the thing is that Bron has lost trust into some of his guys, and rightfully so. We have to look at LeBron James' numbers right now. They're through the roof. He's playing like he's at the age of 25 when others are not reaching or maxing or meeting his level of play. And so when I hear LeBron James say those things, one, he's being honest. Two, he's sending a message to the rest of his teammates, including the guy that was sitting next to him. Because, look, Giannis made him feel that way last night. Giannis came into that game and took it personal, and he dominated in every form and fashion. And why is this Laker team like they are right now for us, the big three? Why did they combine? To win a championship. The Bucks won the championship. The ultimate goal for the Lakers is to win the championship, and they're not going to win a championship with the way that they're playing right now, with the players that they have, and it's going to be a sad story because I see them getting bounced in the first round. They're going to first have to get in the play-in.
Yeah, to be clear, that was Anthony Davis sitting next to him that Perk is talking about. I'll remind everyone that, Brian Windhorst, you have covered LeBron James literally since he was in high school. So when you hear him say at this stage, this moment in his time, we can't get to that level, what do you think?
Well, he's trying to force the Lakers into making a trade by tomorrow. I'm just not sure that a trade at this point can solve anything. I mean, the reality is this. They've played 55 games. I know there's been injuries and illnesses and other things, but they're 3 games under 500. I mean, let's be honest. If they played the Bucks in a series, it would be a 4-game sweep, and it would be embarrassing. The real issue here, Greeny, is that when they made the Russell Westbrook trade, they gave up 4 pieces. They gave up 3 good players and their first-round draft pick. And they elected not to trade for Kyle Lowry at the last trade deadline, which would have cost them 2 of those pieces. Then they elected not to re-sign Alex Caruso, who would have, by his own admission, would have taken less money to sign with the Lakers. That package of decisions is frankly catastrophic. It's catastrophic because they now are in a position where they have no maneuverability. They have very few things that they can trade. Their most valuable piece in Taylor Horton-Tucker has receded in value. The decision to let Alex Caruso walk and bet on Horton-Tucker has blown up in the Lakers' face this year. And teams make mistakes sometimes. It's not like that's terrible, but combined with the Westbrook decision, that has just decimated them. And so what's unfortunate here is LeBron is 37 years old. In the past, when there's been mistakes made with transactions, they've been able to dig out of it in a year. I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to dig out of this one.
It's fascinating. If you look around the league right now at how many good, young, former Lakers there are on other teams, it can't help but jump off the page at you. Very quickly, or not so quickly, because this is an enormous moment. Brian Windhorst, tomorrow, of course, is the trade deadline. Huge names being thrown around everywhere, particularly in the Eastern Conference. James Harden, Ben Simmons, all the speculation. What do we know?
Yeah, so the teams are absolutely engaged in trade discussions. I know that there's people saying things on the record, trying to act like that's not happening, but it is absolutely happening. There is definite motivation from both sides to make this to fall into place. The Sixers were out there yesterday having trade negotiations with other teams, looking to clear roster spots, looking to move other players on their roster, including Tobias Harris, in what looks like ancillary moves to support a James Harden arrival. The issue is, can they settle the issues by 3 o'clock tomorrow? Because from what I am told, Brooklyn's ask is still Ben Simmons and 2 or 3 other pieces, draft picks and players on the Sixers roster. The Sixers don't want to do that. But we are in right now, as far as I can tell, Greeny, we're in the deal zone between Harden and Simmons. I suspect they're going to get it done. I'm not going to tell you for sure they're going to get it done, but it's trending in that direction.
Wow. So Big Perk, and we talked about this earlier this week, and then Stephen A. was in here as well. Who wins that deal in your mind? Not knowing what the other pieces are, but basically speaking, Simmons for Harden. Who wins that deal in your mind?
Philadelphia, and there's no debate. And when you look at it, a James Harden with the big Philly, the way that he's playing right now, and the culture that they have, they will be the favorites of coming out of the Eastern Conference. Look, when you talk about Joel Embiid, this guy's the most skilled player in the league right outside of Kevin Durant offensively. And you pair him up with a James Harden, a guy that is good, that is great at facilitating and getting guys shots. Here's the thing, Greeny. James Harden went to Brooklyn to win the championship. All of a sudden, it's a reality show. We might as well call it Love and Hip Hop of Brooklyn, because that's what it is right now. It's a reality show. It's not nothing real. So at the end of the day, if Philly pull this off and get a James Harden and Joel Embiid, everybody needs to watch the hell out, because they're winning the East.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.